Hello, people of the world. Today we are recording a color tier list. See, I ate a rainbow popsicle, it got me all colory. I'm ready to spout some lukewarm opinions. So my criteria are how they work as a standalone color, how they work in complement with other colors, how they're applied in real life, their connotations, and then how I personally feel about them as an opinion. Starting with black, first off, I want to preface that I am not racist, at least not enough for it to affect my ranking. Black is an interesting color because it's pretty clean, but it's also associated with things like the dark and shadows. Those are obviously pretty negative. Also, it's pretty consuming. It's a very bold color, and I think it does a little bit too much when used alone or with other colors. So like if you put black with any other color on this list, it'll overpower them very much. However, it still looks pretty nice. I think black is a solid upper B tier. It's clean, but it also does too much, and it doesn't have much variety. It's just black. Next color we've got is blue. Blue is a pretty common favorite color, but I think it's very widely overglazed. See, blue is just boring. It's got 3 different variations normally: cyan, blue, and indigo, and all of them are pretty mid. Especially indigo is far too dark, and it's just a worse version of black. Like, I associate it with the ocean and sadness and like sad things. It's just not very special. It's really, really overglazed. Cyan is too bright, and it's more of a green fusion. Overall, I just think B tier. It's pretty normal. You see it a lot, but it's not special where you see it, and it never stands out. Next up, we got pink, and pink's a really interesting one because it is my favorite color, but it's also not objectively the best in my opinion. Because pink, there's only 2 ways you can go, and that's hot pink and pastel pink. And they're both good, but they're also too bright. They stand out too much. And that's been the problem with these first 3. They kind of overshadow their competitors. However, pink also works very well as an accent, and that's one of its strengths. You put it with most of the colors on this list, with blue, with black, with green, it'll work very nicely to complement those colors and enhance them. However, it can be too bright, and it can be an eyesore if it's used too much on its own. So I think I'm going to have to drop it from S to A. Next up, we have brown. Once again, I'm not racist. I think brown, we see it a little bit too much because it's with dirt, it's on walls, it's bricks, but all those places, it's kind of meh. It's not very interesting. Brown's disappointing because it's a combination of all the colors, and yet it forms into just an incoherent blob. It doesn't really work with any of them. Some people would say it works with green, but I say that's just because we're desensitized to it from just seeing it all over in nature. Brown and green would be ugly if it weren't everywhere in our real lives. And when you look at it with every other color, at best, it is mediocre. So brown, it's got to be a C tier. It doesn't look good on its own. It doesn't work with other colors, but it is everywhere, and because of that, I can't drop it down to D. Next up, we have green, and green is also a very, very beloved color. However, I also think, like blue, it is overglazed. You see it a lot in nature, and I think it looks pretty decent in nature. However, when you look at it on its own without the combination of other colors, it's really disappointing. Like, green feels just a little bit gross. I think of vomit when I see green. However, green does have some good colors, like the limeade-ish color green and the darker green do look pretty clean. It works fine with most other colors, but it's never really exceptional like you see pink and some of the other colors on this list. And also, green is the primary color of the Hunter x Hunter logo, so I think it's pretty solid. I think middle B, and we're going to move black down because I'm going to go left is better and right is worse. Next up, we have orange, and orange is by far the most interesting color on this list because orange looks completely foul as a standalone color, but then you put it with literally any other color, and it just enhances all of them. It's by far the best secondary color. By far, it just enhances every single other color, complements them perfectly. You put it with orange, it's clean, white is clean, pink is clean, purple is clean. But I think standalone is more important. So while orange specializes in enhancing other colors, it doesn't have anything for itself. And when you think about it in the real world, you only see it in tandem with yellow as just a combination of the two, or in relatively mediocre uses. So it's also got to be in B tier, but I think upper B is a pretty fair judgment. Next up, we have gray, and gray is the combination of black, which we've already seen in B tier, and white, which I will not spoil yet. It's got a lot of shades and a lot of variety, so you can see nearly white and nearly black with gray, so it's got way more variety than any of the other neutral colors you see. Gray has the combination of black and white, and that makes it work worse with every other color. Where white and black do well, they both force each other out of their niches into gray, and it just looks ugly with pretty much every color. It can look fine with pink, fine with orange, fine with green, but it never really stands out. However, it is somewhat clean. It looks boring, it looks bland, it looks metallic. It's kind of overused in industrial settings, and it also doesn't go well with any of the colors that black or white go well with. Overall, it's just a D tier color because it's not special at all. Like, it can have its use cases, but overall they're pretty niche. Next up, we've got purple, and purple is a very, very glazable color. I think it's quite underrated, and yet I think it's the only S tier among all of these colors. When you look at purple, it can be passionate somewhat, and it can also be far more mellow or just neutral. It also goes well with most colors, although I'd say for some of them, like red, it's a stretch. Purple's very, very clean, and it can also just work everywhere. It does have an issue where it's not found in natural settings. I think if you were to go out into a forest, you'd only find it on like some flowers. So it's a little bit harder to acquire. But other than that, its only weaknesses are that it struggles with being more bright and passionate, and it's just more rare. Purple's an easy S tier. Very peak color. Next up, we have red, and I think red is the most performative color out of our list of 10 here. It's trying far too hard to be aggressive and bright at the same time, and it really fails at both. You also have to consider that some gingers have red hair, and we all know that ginger's worst hair color out there by far. I think it's just trying too hard, and it doesn't look good. It's way too performative, and it's taken away all its good attributes by trying to be so interesting. It doesn't look good by itself because it's too bright, and all of its variations are kind of ugly. The only notable variation it has is maroon, and maroon is quite possibly the foulest color out there. It's just a combination of red and brown, and those are both C tier colors. It can also get kind of rusty, and when you combine red with any of the colors here, it always just looks a little forced. Like red and orange, not as forced, red and black not as forced, but everything else, it feels like you're trying too hard to make it work. Also, red is the color of blood, it's the color of pee, it's the color of alarms and like sirens. Red's just not a very good color, it's not very appealing. It's in D tier. Next up, we have white. White's a very bright color, and that's its biggest weakness. If it's used too much, it can definitely vastly overshadow its competitors or its allies in terms of coloring, and that it just really drags it down. Outside of that, it goes well with most colors except for the really ugly ones. It's clean with pink, and it overall gives a really angelic, heavenly vibe. It's associated with purity, peace, heavenliness, all of those great things. And white's just very sleek. It looks nice in most use cases as long as it isn't the main use. If you've turned on Discord in light mode, it ruins my day. It's far too bright, but as an accent color, it is one of the best. Slightly below orange, but slightly above pink. I'd say it's solid second place. And it can work good as a primary color, just as a very shared primary spot. So white's good, but it's just a little bit too much. So it has to go down to A. Now we're on our final color, and that's yellow. If you've seen anything about yellow and people's opinions of it, you know that it is a very disliked color. It always goes in B, C, or D tier, and I am also going to put it there. Yellow's not very interesting. It's a very docile, domesticated color. It's sad to see, honestly. Yellow, it goes fine with other colors. It's good with purple, but of all the opposite combinations on the color wheel, it's one of the worst ones. Yellow's not very interesting, and it's also very bright like white. Now, when I think of yellow, I think of Luffy's straw hat, but I also think of bright lights and the sun and P also. So it's got mixed connotations. I think it's slightly leaning towards positive there, but it can also feel really weird. You can have a pukish yellow, and also yellow has the same problem as orange, where a lot of its use cases are a combination of the two, and it's a negative for both because it doesn't look good. It frankly doesn't look good. That school bus color with yellow and orange, it's just completely mediocre. It's nothing. Yellow is a C tier color. It has its benefits, but it's mid as beans. That's the final list. In S tier, we've got purple. In A tier, we've got pink and white. In B tier, in order, we've got orange, green, blue, and black. In C tier, we've got yellow and brown. And in D tier, we have red and gray. That is the definitive, presidentially endorsed, certified color tier list. I hope this made my digital footprint far more slanderable, and I hope, I don't know, bro, subscribe or something.